Apple is one of the most innovative and secretive companies in the world. It has a reputation for creating products that are highly desirable and often imitated by competitors. But how does Apple protect its intellectual property and trade secrets from unauthorized access or disclosure? In this section, we will explore how Apple uses encryption, authentication, and legal agreements to safeguard its data and inventions. Encryption is the process of transforming data into an unreadable form that can only be decrypted by authorized parties who have the correct key. Encryption helps prevent hackers, spies, or thieves from accessing sensitive information stored on devices, servers, or cloud services. Apple uses encryption extensively to protect its data in transit and at rest. For example, Apple devices use a file encryption methodology called data protection, which encrypts the data on the device using a unique key derived from the user's passcode and a hardware key embedded in the device's secure enclave. Apple devices with Apple Silicon use a hybrid model that supports data protection and a volume encryption technology called FileVault, which encrypts the entire disk using a volume key that is also protected by the secure enclave. iCloud data is encrypted in transit using TLS and stored in an encrypted format at rest. Users can choose between standard data protection or advanced data protection for iCloud, which offer different levels of encryption and recovery options for their data. Some iCloud data categories, such as health and passwords in iCloud Keychain, are always protected by end-to-end encryption, which means that only the user's trusted devices can decrypt them. Apple doesn't have the encryption keys for these categories and can't access them even with a valid legal request. Apple Pay transactions are encrypted using a device-specific number and a unique transaction code. Apple doesn't store or have access to the user's actual credit or debit card numbers. Authentication is the process of verifying the identity of a user or a device before granting access to a service or a resource. Authentication helps prevent unauthorized parties from impersonating legitimate users or devices and accessing restricted information or functions. Apple uses authentication extensively to ensure that only authorized users and devices can access its services and resources. For example, Apple devices use biometric authentication methods, such as Touch ID and Face ID, to unlock the device, authorize payments, and access sensitive apps. These methods use the secure enclave to securely store and process the user's fingerprint or facial data. Apple devices use two-factor authentication to verify the user's identity when they sign in with their Apple ID on a new device, restore from a backup, or access certain features across Apple's ecosystem. Two-factor authentication requires the user to enter their password and a verification code sent to their trusted device or phone number. Apple devices use cryptographic certificates to authenticate themselves to Apple services, such as iCloud, iMessage, FaceTime, and App Store. These certificates are issued by Apple and signed by its Root Certificate Authority, CA. They help ensure that only genuine Apple devices can access these services. Apple developers use code signing to authenticate their apps before distributing them on App Store or test flight. Code signing uses digital signatures to verify that the app was created by a trusted developer and hasn't been tampered with. Code signing also enables app security features such as sandboxing and entitlements. Legal agreements are contracts that bind the parties involved to certain terms and conditions regarding the use, disclosure, or protection of information or inventions. Legal agreements help prevent unauthorized parties from misusing or leaking confidential information or infringing on intellectual property rights. Apple uses legal agreements extensively to protect its trade secrets and inventions from competitors, employees, suppliers, partners, customers, and regulators. For example, Apple requires its employees to sign non-disclosure agreements, NDAs, that prohibit them from disclosing any confidential information about Apple's products, plans, strategies, or operations to anyone outside of Apple without authorization. Employees who violate NDAs may face legal action or termination. Apple requires its suppliers and partners to sign NDAs that prohibit them from disclosing any confidential information about Apple's products, plans, strategies, or operations to anyone outside of their contractual relationship with Apple without authorization. Suppliers and partners who violate NDAs may face legal action or termination. Apple requires its customers to agree to its terms of service, TOS, and privacy policy when they use its products or services. These agreements inform the customers about how Apple collects, uses, shares, and protects their personal data and content. Customers who violate TOS or privacy policy may face legal action or suspension of service. Apple requires its developers to agree to its Developer Program License Agreement, DPLA, when they enroll in its developer program or distribute their apps on App Store or Test Flight. The DPLA sets forth the rules and guidelines for developing and distributing apps for Apple platforms. Developers who violate DPLA may face legal action or removal of their apps. Apple complies with encryption export regulations when it distributes its products or services that use, access, contain, implement, or incorporate encryption software outside of the United States. These regulations require Apple to obtain authorization from the U.S. government and report certain information about its encryption software to comply with U.S. export laws. In conclusion, Apple uses encryption, authentication and legal agreements to protect its intellectual property and trade secrets from unauthorized access or disclosure. These methods help ensure that only trusted parties can access Apple's data and inventions and that they respect Apple's rights and privacy. How Apple is trying to stop ChatGPT from leaking its secrets by monitoring its online activity, requesting removal of infringing content, and suing the developers or users of ChatGPT for breach of contract or copyright infringement. ChatGPT is a powerful artificial intelligence tool that can generate realistic text and chat with users based on their inputs. It was developed by OpenAI, a research organization backed by Elon Musk and other tech luminaries. ChatGPT has been praised for its creativity and versatility, but also criticized for its potential to leak sensitive data, spread misinformation, and violate intellectual property rights. Apple is one of the companies that is concerned about the risks of ChatGPT and similar tools. According to leaked documents and anonymous sources, Apple has banned its employees from using ChatGPT and other external AI tools for business purposes. The reason is that Apple fears that its employees might accidentally upload confidential information to these services, such as source code, product plans, or customer data. This could expose Apple's secrets to competitors, hackers, or the public. Apple is not alone in restricting the use of ChatGPT. Other companies, such as Amazon, JP Morgan, Bank of America, and Samsung, have also reportedly barred their employees from using ChatGPT for work-related tasks. Some of these companies have experienced data leaks due to ChatGPT. For example, a Samsung engineer allegedly uploaded confidential source code to ChatGPT in order to ask for its help in fixing a faulty database. Apple is also taking steps to stop ChatGPT from leaking its secrets by monitoring its online activity. Apple has a team of experts who scan the internet for any traces of Apple's proprietary data that might have been generated or revealed by ChatGPT or other AI tools. If they find any evidence of infringement, they contact the service providers and request them to remove the offending content. They also warn the users or developers of ChatGPT that they are violating Apple's terms of service and intellectual property rights. Apple is not afraid to take legal action against those who use ChatGPT to leak its secrets. Apple has a history of suing individuals and companies who breach its confidentiality agreements or infringe its copyrights. For example, Apple sued a former employee who leaked trade secrets about an unreleased product to a reporter. Apple also sued Corellium, a company that created a virtual iPhone that could run iOS software without Apple's authorization. Apple is working on its own version of ChatGPT-like technology that would be more secure and private than the existing tools. Apple is known for its expertise in machine learning and artificial intelligence, as demonstrated by its products such as Siri, Face ID, and Photos. Apple is also known for its commitment to user privacy and data protection, as shown by its features such as end-to-end encryption, differential privacy, and app tracking transparency. Apple's AI tool would likely use these technologies to ensure that no data is leaked or misused. Apple's AI tool could have many applications and benefits for the company and its customers. It could improve Siri's conversational abilities and understanding of natural language. It could enhance Apple's products and services with more personalized and creative features. It could also help Apple's developers and engineers with coding, debugging, testing, and designing new software and hardware. However, Apple's AI tool could also face some challenges and limitations. It could be difficult to train and maintain such a complex and large-scale system without compromising on quality or performance. It could also be hard to balance the trade-offs between innovation and regulation, as different countries and regions have different laws and norms regarding AI ethics and governance. It could also be risky to rely too much on AI without human oversight or intervention. Apple is trying to stop ChatGPT from leaking its secrets by using various methods such as monitoring, removal, and litigation. However, these methods might not be enough to prevent all leaks or infringements. Therefore, Apple is also developing its own AI tool that would be more secure and private than ChatGPT. However, this tool might not be ready or available anytime soon. Until then, Apple will have to keep an eye on ChatGPT and other AI tools that could pose a threat to its secrets.